Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to The Bunker. It's time for another voicemail. Today's voicemail is from a caller named Hazel. Let's listen to what Hazel has to say.
Hey Lloyd, my name is Hazel and I'm okay with you, using my name and talking about this and broadcasting it. That's fine. I think it's awesome that I'm able to leave a message. I'm a huge fan of you. I love everything that you post. I think it's amazing. So I'm a Catholic and I have people who will constantly talk to me about different religious things, but one of them that really comes up are like Jehovah's Witnesses. I work at a grocery store, so I have them like coming up to me every day and just talking to me, and I can't really get away from them. But they'll kind of like send me links, or they'll hand me like pamphlets and papers and stuff like that, and they've really kind of gotten to me because I'm already kind of religious, and they've really made me just start, like, I guess, questioning my own stuff. Like, I already believe in my own religion, and I'm really content with being Catholic, and it bothers me because they're starting to get to me, and like, it's gotten to the point where I'm looking around and being like, okay, there's like a Kingdom Hall 5 minutes from me. Should I just go and take a look and see what's going on? I don't know if anything's open. Like, I know my state opened up already, but like, they're starting to get to me, and it's driving me insane because I'm like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore. And again, like, I still have the basis of Catholicism, but it's driving me insane because they're such nice people, and it really does feel like they're teaching nice things. And then I go back to your channel and I'm able to see, I'm like, that's not what's going on. That's not what's going on, but it's causing an extreme conflict. Again, I really love your stuff, and I think that your stuff has actually helped me to be a better person because you kind of keep me away from all of the extremist stuff, and you keep me grounded in the reality of what I believe, and I really appreciate it. You're like, a kind older family member, and you really help steer me in the right direction sometimes. But yeah, any advice, it's causing me to be really, really conflicted, and I don't know what to do anymore. But thank you.
Well, thank you, Hazel. Thanks for leaving that message. I think this is the first message I've had from a believing Catholic, and it's nice to know that the channel is relatable to people from lots of different religious backgrounds. I have to say, I am confused by your message. It sounds like this is more than simply about you being bothered by Jehovah's Witnesses at your place of work, which is inappropriate behavior. When you're at your work, you're not there to be preached to, you're there to work. So, and believe me, I've done this. I can remember when I was a JW, we had, what did we call it? Business territory. And I used to try really hard to do it, but I always hated it because it amounted to bothering people at their place of work when they were trying to earn a living, essentially. And I remember finding one guy at an office. It was actually in the countryside, this office in the middle of nowhere. There were loads of people in there, and I used to just kind of walk into this office and walk straight up to his desk and to give him his magazines. And I did this like a few times, and finally, it must have been his supervisor said, do you mind not coming anymore? It's not appropriate for you to be here, And that was like, oh, I've been told. And frankly, what was I thinking? I mean, when you're in a cult, the ends always justify the means, don't they? And you're always going to find reasons to do objectionable things if it's for the greater good of saving people, of bringing people into the one true faith. So that's where my head was at. That's probably where these local witnesses are coming from, but what they're doing is still extremely inappropriate. And as far as they're concerned, I think it's basically a case of just putting your foot down and saying, I'm sorry, I'm here to work. It's not really appropriate for you to be leaving your materials with me or trying to talk to me about my personal religious views, but I'm happy to serve you your groceries if that's okay with you, you know? I'd be interested to know, by the way, if they would try the same thing if you were identifiably a Muslim person. I think that there are certain religions that Jehovah's Witnesses will go after and others that they won't. And if you don't mind me saying, it feels like it's not so much about your religion, probably more about the way you're carrying yourself. It could be that they can sense you're conflicted. That's the word you used. You said you're conflicted. If there's anyone who's in two minds about their religion, or anyone who's confused about what their beliefs are, it's like blood in the water with sharks. Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be straight there. If there's any kind of calamity or any kind of misery or any kind of conflict or any kind of trauma, they're like vultures. And I say that as someone who was once one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm wondering whether underlying issues that you're having might be being sensed by those around you. And I'm wondering whether that's why you're being picked on, essentially. You're being targeted with these overtures. I think the bigger issue that you need to be thinking about is, why are you so conflicted? Because even in your message, you say one thing and then you say another. You say, I don't know what to believe anymore. And then later on you said something like, you help remind me of what my beliefs are. But you've just said you don't know what to believe anymore. You say that you're kind of religious, but you say that you're conflicted. So I think probably what's most pressingly needed, well, first of all, the usual disclaimer. If you're really struggling with negative feelings, with, in this case, feelings of being conflicted, please seek the help of a mental health professional. Second of all, I really think you need to devote some time to introspection, you know, and to really kind of sitting down, almost with like a pen and paper, and saying, okay, what do I believe? What do I think? What are my beliefs? How much of what's in my head has been inherited from previous generations through the process of religious indoctrination? And how much that's in my head is what I authentically believe, is what I genuinely believe? And how much that's in my head is stuff that's been proven to me? I feel as though feelings of conflict are inevitable if you are an intellectually honest person who is being forced or feeling forced to hold on to unproven religious dogma, if you'll allow me to be frank. Either you are a Catholic or you're not. If you're identifying as a Catholic, but you're saying, I don't know what to believe anymore, I would take a time out and I would try to figure out what the hell it is I do believe. And when going through this process of introspection, I would be mindful of the need to apply as much critical thinking as possible. Because just as Catholicism is riddled with bad arguments and holding on to traditions for no other reason than because it's a tradition, you have exactly the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. So I think what you really need to do, apart from seeking help professionally, is just spend some time thinking this through, because it sounds like the conflict that's in you ideologically is almost visible to people around you. That's the only reason I could think of why you're being targeted in this way. Of course, Jehovah's Witnesses will indiscriminately approach people in public, but it sounds like you are being conspicuously targeted. And yeah, maybe it's just because people can see that you're carrying this conflict. Resolve it, and if you can resolve it, I'm sure you'll find that it's a much easier way to live and a much more content and satisfying way to be. That's not to say that there is an ultimate truth. So Jehovah's Witnesses claim there to be like the truth, and Catholicism has similar assertions about its dogmas. I think for me, one of the most freeing things about atheism is to say, you know what, there are some things that we just don't know. And that's okay, The scientific process is built on the idea that we don't know everything, and therefore we need to investigate. And so when we find something out, let's challenge it. Let's test it over and over again to make sure it's true. And then once we find out that that's true, let's move on to something else, but always mindful of the fact that something might come along that completely blows our understanding of this previous thing that we thought we had all figured out. I think that's a far more satisfying, intellectually honest way of arriving at truths than the religious way, which is to say, we've come up with these ideas, or our predecessors have come up with these ideas. Let's stick with them through thick and thin, even if they turn out to be wrong, and even if they turn out to be damaging people in various ways. So I hope some or all of that is helpful to you. Again, if you're feeling conflicted and torn, and this is causing you distress, definitely drill down in terms of therapy and find out what's causing this and do your best to resolve it, because you do sound like you may be struggling. We are guardians of our mental health, and we owe it to ourselves to make our existence on this planet as enjoyable and conflict-free as possible. So thank you for your message. If you would like to leave a message, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Seeders, remembering to indicate clearly if you don't want me to broadcast your message on my channel. But that's all I have time for. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lloyd Evans channel for more such videos. And as always, thank you for watching.